go back and think about it later.
And you got and that's the thing about it. You got to be ready for whatever comes back at you.
Right.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We're just talking about bashing in general, cause it's my
Man bashing women, women bashing men.
But so I'm gonna take so I'm gonna take the second half of the show to begin to try to look at solutions. Like how do we begin to attack this? Because we understand that it's clearly an issue. Like I don't care who you are, at some point you get on some form of social media, you go in a barbershop, a beauty salon, whatever the case may be, at some point you're going to hear it, like it's that prevalent. So how do we begin to turn the page on this and start to break down those chains and those mindsets that lead to it?
How about you think before you speak? Or think before you type?
What if your thought process isn't right?
Then that's something you work on.
There you go. I mean,
so it's how you internalize and see things. Change your point of view.
Y'all see
we
comments.
You don't have a call-in.
We don't have a call-in.
No.
It's not a call-in.
Who is
I just type it. We'll try to address it.
Yeah.
Just type whatever
type
you
it. Type it in.
We see all your comments.
I don't see it.
So we understand attacking the mindset, but how do we do that? Because I mean, I guess the question that I have is, and this goes across the board. It's not even just with this topic specifically, but across the board, we've been talking about a certain mindset that, okay, we need to change the mindset. We need to change the mindset. We've been saying that.
But it goes back to how you feel about yourself. Because if you don't know your self-worth, then everybody around you is not worth nothing. Because we don't realize we treat people how we treat ourselves. So if we treat ourselves good, if we really love ourselves, then what we put out to other people will be totally different.
I hear that. So when we say, you said, say the first part of that again before I say what I was going to say. I just want to make sure I heard it correctly before I respond. I don't want to respond to something that isn't even.
I'm sorry.
Say that first part one more time.
Laugh out loud.
Okay. So it basically starts with how you treat yourself and how you love yourself.
Okay.
And then it goes out, because you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself.
Okay. So what about the person that does not know how to love themselves?
So and that's where I go back to where that's where you spend that time with God. But that's what it was for me. Mm-hmm. You spend that time with God, and then eventually, as you spend more time with Him and the Word and praying, then He'll slowly reveal.
So what about outside of that?
Outside of that,
I'm going somewhere with this.
I know. Outside of it, I mean, outside of it.
But this is why I asked that question.
Okay.
Because even if we look, if we look at it first from the Christian perspective.
I agree with that.
And we look at the cross, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just look at what the cross symbolizes. So many of us look at the cross and we think Jesus on the cross died, was resurrected. This is the point where we were reconciled. You know what I mean? But if we break down the cross, there's two wooden planks, 2x4s, whatever you want to call it, right? Mm-hmm. One is up and down.
And one is crossway.
One is crossway. So the one up and down, right? Let's say that represents our relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to be whole,
you gotta have a relationship.
We know that we're supposed to carry our cross daily, right? Mm-hmm. So in order for us to be whole, then we need to carry the full cross, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So if we focus on just the perpendicular aspect of it, and we just focus on the relationship with God, there's still another part to that cross, and that's the relationship with each other.
Right. But that comes as you build that relationship with God. God will build your relationships with other people, because the more He heals you, the better you are to other people.
It's true.
The better you can serve other people.
Yeah.
Come on, Jason. You've been
You don't
over
want me to
here.
come on with this one.
Oh,
come on. If I'm wrong, then we friends.
No, I mean, it's not really about being wrong. The thing is that like you almost have to look at it outside of anything religious. You have to. The reason being is because if you really want to get down to the root of what Christianity is, it ain't right. At the root of it. at the
Right.
ruler. Because Christianity, when it's set here in the Americas, they robbed, they stole, they killed, and they were Christians. So you can't really attack it there, because if you approach somebody and you say, well, God told me to love you and I'm a Christian and this and that, he's going to be like, no, you part of the colonizer faith. You see what I mean? So you have to say, okay, outside of that, if you really break down who we are as
Therapy. Adrian, that's my friend.
mindset, yes, you say so. Okay.
That's not true. Okay. I don't agree.
The thing is this.
But if you don't love yourself.
Yeah, if you don't love yourself, that was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you
Yours
don't,
is different.
if you do love yourself, right? And I know a lot of people like this. I've come in contact with a lot of people, and I know people that love themselves. They spoil the mess out of themselves.
But that doesn't mean you spoiling yourself with things does not mean that you love yourself.
I mean,
because
things,
a lot of people use things to make them feel worthy, make them feel valuable.
the most precious thing is time, right?
Mm-hmm.
The most valuable thing is time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll spend time on themselves no matter what.
But that doesn't mean.
So you have to say, okay, well, it can't really be boiled down to saying if love them how you want to be loved, although that's biblical. But if you want to stay on the biblical side of it, Christ wanted to be loved a certain way, but he actually gave a different type of love.
Come on now.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if he gave the love that he loved himself, he wouldn't have never came down to this joint.
Come on.
Put it in the scripture. It wouldn't have happened. Promise you it wouldn't have took place. Because he
But
technically he's been with God. It said the word was with God.
But he loved
God,
us.
the word was God. But check it out.
Right.
Knowing what he knew, he came down understanding that he was going to be rejected, he was going to be crucified, he was going to be beaten.
For someone that he loved.
That means that you have to love them the way they deserve to be loved, regardless of how you feel you should be treated. The thing I said to you, I told him this. God asked me one day, he said, if I asked you to beat the nail that the hammer beat on, would you still do it? There's nothing glorious about loving people at the end of the day.
Come on.
I promise you it's not.
I would never say
when
it
you
is.
love, when you love wholeheartedly, you have to understand that you're going to go through hell and fire.
Duh, love is unconditional.
Just to get one person to receive it and reciprocate it. So when you're talking about the bashing and all of that, you have to say, okay, well, this person doesn't deserve the love that I give myself. Because honestly, anybody in their right mind would be like, no, you're right, they don't.
But so let's go off of that. We didn't deserve the love of Jesus dying on the cross. But he gave again.
Right.
But he gave it anyway.
That means that he.
But he commanded us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we mess up. We hurt ourselves, but we still love it. We still love ourselves. Or we're supposed to. We're supposed to still love ourselves.
So that means that you have to have.
You have to have agape love.
There you go. So God looked down and said, I'm going to love these individuals regardless. You see what I'm saying? I deserve this. They don't understand how to return, or they don't even understand how to receive the love that I'm giving them, but I'm going to give it to them anyway. And that's where bashing takes place. When you're treated a certain way by an individual, that's when bashing kicks in. You're offended, you're upset, you're pissed off, you name it. At that moment, you be like, hey, I ain't that saved. We've heard them cliches. I ain't that saved. God's still working on me. You don't know who I was before this.
I'm gonna set my Holy Ghost on the counter.
Yeah, sundown.
So this is where I was, and I'm so glad this conversation with that. I love listening. Number one, 99% of this I already. Me and him talked about this 1,000 times anyway.
Right.
So, but I was going somewhere with the whole cross analogy.
Okay.
Because I hear a lot of, okay, they just need to get closer to God. They need to build their relationship with God. They need to do this with God. They need to do that with God. And I 100% agree with that. I have no
I can only speak on how I started my
right. But my question is, when it's worded in that way, that sounds like an individual project. That you're basically, it's the equivalent of if I give you a box with boards and tools and I say, build this bookshelf. And you
Without
have
no
no
instructions.
clue how to build it.
I like that.
How are you going to possibly put it together? And this is where I was talking about the other part of that cross. Because I can tell you, you need to grow in your relationship with God. Like that's where it starts.
Well, I think
But
it
at
takes-
what point, to the person that's never heard of Jesus, that does not know who God is,
But that's
how
what-
can I tell them that and then?
But that's where you show them. That's where you
That's
sit
where
down.
I was
That's
getting
where you
to.
sit down and you show them.
And so that's why I was saying like we are dependent on that.
We're
As
dependent on
people.
each other.
Right. And so that's where one of the biggest breakdowns in our society is as a whole, is this independent mindset when at the end of the day, we are dependent on each other. I would challenge anybody to go 48 hours of being in the house with no outside interaction, no contact with another human being, and I want to see how you are when you come out of those 48 hours and not speaking to anybody.
Yeah. I'm fine
No
with that.
human contact at all.
I'm fine with
You did it.
it. I've done it. I do it all the time.
I was gonna.
You a whole different type of. You a whole different
You
type
have,
of.
you have to remember I'm an introvert. So like
same way. I've done it.
Yeah.
like when I'm
I
out
actually
with
need that
when I'm out with people and like I'm like constantly having people and,
Yeah, that's
interacting
not
with
too bad,
people,
like-
that drains me.
I mean, yeah, that's
I
if it's
have
a
to-
constant thing. But
But I do it every day. Let's break it down.
I mean, I'm saying to just shut
But-
yourself off from human
That's the
contact.
best- that's
At
my
some
best
point, it's going
time.
to depress you.
No, it doesn't.
At some point,
It doesn't.
What's the longest
It
you've done
doesn't.
it?
The longest I've done it, a week.
Of no
Straight.
human contact, and you were happy the whole week straight.
Straight.
That's,
I came back rejuvenated. I was like so happy.
Oh, it's like a fast. I get it. However,
At
But I didn't do
at
that
some
for
point, we
fast.
are dependent on each other.
From
So
a psychological standpoint, you're right.
psychologically, to